In this video, I ask the question, if you cover a model's face, is it still a portrait? Hello, I'm Gavin Hoey and you're watching Adorama TV, brought to you by Adorama, the camera store that's got everything for us photographers. Now, on a recent episode of Adorama TV, I did a shoot here in my small home studio. We had a model, we covered her eyes with various gels. It was all great fun, but it led to a conversation with a fellow photographer. Is it still a portrait if you can't see, well, the model's eyes, for example? Now, I thought, yes, it was, but the more we discussed it, the more I could see their point of view. So I thought, I've got to test this for myself. So what I'm going to do is we'll set some lights up, we'll get a model in, and I'm going to cover the model's face in a couple of different ways. And at the end of it, I'm going to see if I still feel they are portraits. Okay, let's get shooting. So today I've been joined in the studio by Kerry, who's going to be the model for this shoot. Now, before we get around to covering part of Kerry's face, I think we'll go through the basic lighting. So I've got a single speed light in a glow softbox, and I've gone for the classic lighting position, elevated light in really, really close to the model. Now this should give a nice, simple lighting look. Let's take a picture like this, see how it looks. Kerry, are you ready? Here we go. And that's lovely, really nice, really simple, really effective. So we can see Kerry has a lovely face, but do we need to see the whole face? Well, yeah, we probably do, but we can actually cover part of it up, and I'm going to do that in a couple of different ways. I'm going to start by giving Kerry a book to hold in front of her face. There we go. I'll give you that. So I just need to organise this slightly. So Kerry, if you want to hold that up, I'm going to get it in nice and close. That looks pretty good. Now we're shooting with a depth of field of f8. So I need a depth of field that's going to get the front of the book to the back of Kerry's head in focus. f8 on a micro four thirds camera, well, that should be more than enough. Let's take this picture, see how it looks. And that's nice, that works really well. We can see Kerry's eyes look fantastic. The book is nicely exposed. But we can work the scene a little bit and get a more interesting shoot using exactly the same setup with some simple, clear instructions to the model, like this, for example. Okay, Kerry, what I'd like you to do is get your eyebrows as high as they will go. Whoa! That is amazingly high. Brilliant stuff, and that looks fantastic. Completely different look and feel just by adding a simple instruction. We definitely get a great portrait, even though half of the face is covered up. So we've covered up Kerry's mouth and nose, but what if we do the opposite? What if we cover her eyes? Does it still become a portrait if you can't see the subject's eyes? Well, I think it does, and we're going to put that to the test. You can make your own decision about that. Let's take some shots with Kerry's eyes covered. Now, I've given her a nice woolly hat. You can probably guess where this is going. It's going to go lower, isn't it? So do you want to just pull that down over your eyes a little bit? That's terrific. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some shots with Kerry's eyes covered. Now, this is really hard for a model to do because they can't actually see you anymore. So instructions are going to be absolutely critical. I'll take a test picture first of all so you can see how this looks. Okay. Which is great. So Kerry, we're going to go for 3 different expressions from you. So first of all, I'm going to get you to give me a sort of a grrr, gritted teeth kind of, wow, that's pretty good. Okay, we've got a happy smile in there as well. We'll do one more. Do you want to puff your cheeks out for me? Brilliant stuff, fantastic. There you go. 3 different poses, 3 different facial expressions. Is this still a portrait? Absolutely it is. Do you need to see someone's eyes? Yeah, it does help. Kerry, do you want to lift that up? There you go, she's still underneath it. It does help, but it isn't absolutely critical. Right, let's get some of these into Photoshop and we'll do a quick edit there. One of the things that my friend photographer was quite adamant was that if you cover the eyes of your portrait subject, you lose that emotional connection. You lose a feeling of what they're feeling. Now, I disagree, and I think we've proved that with the pictures of Kerry. So I've got 3 different emotions, and I reckon they'll look great as a triptych, 3 images on the same image. And to do it, I'm going to use Photoshop. Now, whether your emotions are true or whether they are implied doesn't really matter in photography. That's one of the joys of these things. I reckon that's going to be my favourite middle picture. So let's make that the middle of my triptych. Now, I've already cropped these so they're tall and thin, and I've checked to make sure they are all exactly the same size in pixels. What I'm going to do now is come over to the background layer, click on the padlock and get rid of the background layer. Now, that's really important. You can, of course, just drop it in the bin on older versions of Photoshop. Then I need some more space for the other images to go into, and I'm going to find that up at the top here where it says image, and I'm going to come down to canvas size, and on canvas size I'm going to change a few things, particularly the units, which are centimeters in my case, but I'm going to change it to percent. Now that'll change to 100% for the width and height. Because I've got 3 images, you might think 300%, but remember you need some gaps. So in fact I need 350%, and also I need a gap at top and bottom as well, so we'll make the height 120%. Click OK, and that will give me lots more space into which to add the other images. Okay, let's go get the next one. I reckon this is my next shot, and I'm going to go to select, and then all, and then back to edit, and this time copy to our final image, back to edit and paste. Now that will paste it in, and if I get the move tool I can actually drag this around, and you'll see I get these little pink lines that allow me to sort of line everything up. It's really rather smart. I reckon that's a nice little gap there. Okay, let's do exactly the same with the last image. I'll speed things along by using keyboard shortcuts for select all, copy and paste. And if I drag this across, you'll see I get pink little lines when it all lines up as well. That's one of the new features of Photoshop CC. It's been around for a year or so. Very, very useful indeed. Now, I can flatten this down by going to layer, but not actually flattening, just choosing merge visible, because that will allow me to put a new background color in of my choice. So let's make a new background layer. Go to layer, new, and layer. There it is. And I'm just going to drag that new layer right to the bottom of the pack. And then I could either fill that with white, or in my case I might just get a little sort of radial filter here and just drag out a gradient like that. And that looks really nice, just having a nice little gradient on there. And I can complete that with a little bit of a keyline border and a drop shadow, and there it is. My triptych is completed. Well, that was a great fun shoot to do, and along the way I think I've learned a thing or two and got some answers to my questions. First of all, yep, without any shadow of a doubt in my mind, those were portraits. No, you don't have to see the portrait sitter's eyes or the mouth. You can cover up parts of the face quite happily, and I'm still confident that's a portrait. I think for me a portrait has to be a representation of a person, if that's what your portrait is. It can be realistic, it can be surrealistic, it can be impressionistic. You can define portraits in all sorts of different ways. And I think what I've learned most is that photographers don't have a set idea for what a portrait is. And that's absolutely fantastic. In fact, if you can answer the question, what is a portrait? Pop it down in the comments below. I'd love to know your thoughts. Now, if you want to see more videos from myself and the other amazing presenters right here on Adorama TV, you have got to click on the subscribe button. I'm Gavin Hoey. Thanks for watching.